Yes, we are live. I've been doing this for quite a long period of time, but every time I do, when you see that red flashlight, you kind of go on. Immediately, you get excited. Yes, we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring massive greetings to you from the TNN TV media empire. Today, now the 28th of June, 2023. Me when they talk to una, my name Prince Emil Kroma. Koto Koroma o Koroma. I am Kroma, Kroma. Please take note. Long before the 24th of this month, this is like 4 days ago, not very long, even the ink the way they use for sign various documents, including the swearing in documents, are still not even dry yet, but yet we have a conversation around all of this. Okay? Very important conversation. Once more, Fambulem, in a Prince Emil Koma, this is the TNN TV media empire. Those of you who don't tune in, I apologize for being late, but not because the situation fluid in the sense that information continue for the coming, and you get for be clued on before you come and can talk to Fambulem, thousands of fans, frenemies as well. So as we begin this program tonight, when I go down see the title, and that's exactly what one can talk about: the role of the international community, international observer missions at elections, pre and post-election, whatever they happen inside the country, the swearing in, Marabio, the president, as declared by the constituted authority, potential court cases, of course, now the only side that now way you can go, legally speaking, and potentially the outcomes. Not touch that dial. This is not TNN TV media empire. Yes, indeed. This is not the TNN TV media empire. Fambula, not very long ago, that's 4 days, basically, we hold elections. Much talked about elections. We're not going to waste time for talk about the march on to that day because we've said plenty, and there are plenty other platforms them we don't talk plenty about waiting happen leading up to that election, the election. But we now focus on the aftermath of that elections. And waiting involved on the aftermath. Calculations, RRF forms, dispute, results, tallying, collating, certifying. These are all the critical buzzwords that are being used now, and for very, very good reasons. Fambulem. The election results not reflect the will of the people. I repeat, the election results not reflect the will of the people. Certainly, there's something I want to address because me personally congratulated the president-elect. But of course, this is a normal thing, you have to do, and it's a matter of choice, how you see things. A lot of people are upset because I've got a platform in which I speak to tens of thousands of people, and I appreciate that deeply. So things they want to do, things they want to say, therefore be carefully balanced. So you know what, upset X, neither do you want to upset Y. So you find a way how you go there right now the middle. But for then at the middle, family, it really hard. Anyway, straight to the point. Our tweets out, congratulations to the president-elect. And of course, that upset a lot of people with the against the president-elect. One of the things that way people are bringing to my attention, both personally and others I find deeply offensive or just deeply arrogant and ignorant, is the picture what I use. I see people and criticize the picture because apparently there is a story to the picture as then sabi the picture. And waiting at this picture. Now, the two gentlemen then, one the loser, one the winner. Well, apparently, according to the result that was read by the man who constitutes the authority for read that results day, he proclaimed one the winner and one the loser, and for win, somebody will have to lose. So I use that picture there. I tweet out a congratulatory message to the president-elect. That was not an easy thing for do, but it was a conscious choice of mine. And I will expect people to respect that. But back to the picture, simply because you be not go see the picture some other place where somebody probably use because there's so much propaganda on social media. And apparently, XYZ person say, or the way the picture was used, it appear like say Samora was congratulating President Bio. So once I use the picture, people then come and stamp fake pants up the picture based on that knowledge they way then things they then get of the picture. I condemn the action. I find that deeply offensive. I expect apologies on that basis there, because if you're civilized, if you're decent, and you make mistake, then obviously you for come back where you will not offend somebody and find the courage for say sorry. This picture, now picture where the two gentlemen appear for the shake hand and they show some documents then. The picture not fake. I don't know why they call them fake. And in fact, I don't intimate as to why I think they call them fake, because apparently there was a story going along with that picture there. But the reality of the picture, if you been get little time for do your background check on the picture, if we don't find out, say that the picture is genuine, the date, time, and place of the picture, you will have known if you just decide for do that. In fact, for those of you who we don't know, this picture and a picture where they take, I think around May. Yeah, I believe say around May. If you remember, a lot of activities leading to the elections been there on, brokered by the international community who want to talk about now because they self get responsibility. So if you remember back, they say Samora and Marabio, then go sign because there was so much election tension. And for kill the tension, you get for see the two party them were involved in creating this tension, or we make people they become so tense because the moment itself is drawing near, for try for calm down nerves. So the international community in their infinite wisdom decide say una know it in. For the optic, this will be good. Una come together, una can sign the document there for assure the world and una people and say that this election we both go agree say it will be peaceful, it will be conducted under a peaceful atmosphere. We're not going to allow any situation for get out of hand. We will try for kill the tension. And here we are. Now we all together for lead this election. Here we are shaking hands. Not congratulating the president-elect after the elections. So please, if you been get that thing they up now your mindset, try for clear them off. And if you not been one of the person them way thinks the photo was fake, please try for get knowledge of the bigger context of the picture, and I expect you or una for no better. On the congratulatory message, it's a matter of choice. You can choose for congratulate the president-elect. You can choose not to. I choose to, for good reasons, where I think say in the interest of peace. And if you, the opposition, the only recourse to action where you get left, now the courts. And I see statement upon statement and statement. Is it going to reverse the election process? And this is exactly Usa I want for dinner with this conversation. You see, Fambulem, the reality is, if pressure, and when I say pressure from the outside, not come for beer on authority on the inside, I see Marabio sit on the so. It is sit on the and do in 5-year term. I repeat, if pressure not come out for beer from the outside on Marabio for prevail on, I'm saying, this election here will not agree with the results and etc. Or even if we agree with them, we get question marks, and you need to satisfy all these question marks and put proper burden upon them. Of course, Marabio is going nowhere. This is not a fact. This now the fact is going nowhere. Because internally, this man is the lepet, this man is the be all and end all. Internally, until in time expire. Once upon a time, there was somebody in a similar position called Ernest by Koroma. Ernest by Koroma was the lepet natong. When he talk for thing, and because of the constitution of we presidency and executive presidency, we don't talk this thing. Right now, the emotion I left now, beaucoup people, here the mind. That president day or the president, he get beaucoup power. And then powers that he can use for abuse office, but can justify them by the power bequeathed upon him as executive president. Famulelo bear this in mind. So within, Marabio can do and he don't do them. He beats APC up. What I say beats, I mean physically beats them. Sending dogs them, then beat people them up. They kill people them. They empower them base for actually come out in the public, in which the police themselves, the clean police, they find themselves handicapped for act. Because why? The authority in a power, where the police, they work for, not for the people, they don't authorize them, say, hey, stay out of this, or the best you can do, now for protect the one the way we descend, for go cause trouble, chaos, arson, criminal activity. So if the police is handicapped, or within the police itself, there is a police where they protect the one the way they go cause the trouble, who's how you left the people there now for defend themselves? How can they defend themselves? Where the state actually they sponsor violence. To me, one way they say so. Of course, I see out me I to me, one way they say so. The international community is coming to bear with all of the reports the way the non they get over the years, and even when they're at the ground, they see them things that happen in real time before their own very eyes. Anyway, wanna permit me for the digression, and there will be plenty of digression here tonight. You see, the international community, where we can talk about and we don't much talk about, then get an obligation to a country, but now within respect of the boundaries of the independence and sovereignty of such a nation. I repeat, the international community we don't much talk about, then get an obligation to each and every country when a signatory to the conventions and organizations such as the United Nations, such as ECOWAS, and you name it, Boku organization. But when they act, then they act within the boundaries and the borders of international law, respect for sovereignty, and self-determination. Period. We need to understand this. Having said this, as part of their obligation, they can come for their heavy burden on governments will not keep up with best practice, things that we didn't sign up to, organizations that we didn't belong to. When the reason why they did it, now because they agree, say, we go conduct ourselves within the rules-based system of their organization there. And by extension, it also affects we country. But you not just the grab and go invade somebody in country. No. No. You not just the grab, here and want somebody, you know they do this and what have you. No. Because that country, they get their independence. The president is independent, the country is independent, and waiting and they talk and how they do now mutual respect. We really need to understand this. Now, I mean, they talk about the internal side of things in Marabio. That Marabio is the most powerful man of the country. Beyond them, there's no one else. Now, in the beginning, now in the ending, now in the alpha, now in the omega. And they talk about politics-wise within the country, the physical realm now the country. That's what I'm talking about. That's why it can do things or they do things the way they do so and get away with them. These are all facts. Now, Because in a signatory to the international community, here is where it comes. And not only him, I talk about the country as a whole. And furthermore, because we now a donor-driven country, and for put and simple, if somebody they feed you, even you picking and a host, because now you they feed them, then they look up to you. And when you put your rules down, they get for abide by their rules then they. And if you not abide by their rules then they, what will you do? You go withdraw your support. In the bigger scheme of things, now so this they be now the international community. There are a few things they can decide, and like I say, because we're in a donor-driven economy, largely donor-driven economy, they can get upset and decide, say, well, we go pull out from so projects. And then they pull out altogether because na carrot and stick approach. And back, they still get obligation. Also because they're vexed with government, they still get obligation with the people. So you can't just pull out everything. For example, if not they be responsible for let water they run, how can you get upset and decide for turn the tap off? How will the people drink on whose behalf apparently you are acting? How would you do that? So you see them find construct there, they need to be understood. Now let we come back again to precedents, situations both in the past and the present, and let we see how we fit in there. And then we will come to international observer and we elections. Now, Marabio, they say the elections was fraudulent. As we speak, I don't know whether anybody or how many people in terms of countries and organizations don't congratulate them. Because let me understand this. The veracity of the elections based on international observation, that's why international observers therefore come in, because now then they lend credibility to the process. Once they don't lend credibility to the process, it then becomes a problem for you. You can get away with that. Let's get that. And I make they say within the country, the man is the strongest. And you don't even give a damn about the All People's Congress. And why do I say this? Is because along the way, you don't bastardize them, you don't molest them, you don't kick them, you don't beat them, you don't shoot them, you don't kill them. APC just continue for cry because they don't get much. The court who side is supposed to go for recourse, who owns the courts? The man where they appropriate and apportion cases them to various judges, they win at the Chief Justice. Now he swear the man in with a broad smile on his face. Broad smile, was a broad smile, as if he's got no inkling of an idea as to what happened 24, 48, 36 hours earlier. In duty, now I go perform so. But in show no remorse now in face. No remorse at all. No empathy for the people. Yet now the big one in this, if you understand. But now in duty, now even they do. That's what in duty called for. He has a choice though. He can say no and risk everything else on the basis of principle. For example, for put food now in the table for a family, and a few people there will don't see they do that. And of late, some of the people themselves when they make noise now because they want to find themselves in the same position. It's not a position of moral fortitude. That is the point. Now, because you know did it. If they put you there, you probably will do worse. But let me not make judgments. I reserve judgment for the Almighty. Yeah, I reserve judgment for the Almighty. So, like I be say, I want to talk about precedents because I read Boku Fambul and they cite precedents there. We don't talk about the international community. We still go talk about them and when they can act, how they can act, why they can act. Now, one of the cases them way they know they highlight for quite a while is that of former Gambian strongman, Yaya Jame, the Babli Mansa of the Gambia then. Now, know what in a Babli Mansa? Babli Mansa na a Madingo, of course, the Madingo people the way they watch go know that. But for those of you who know to Madingo, it's a kind of title. It means the rulers. I mean the ruler of the waves, the seas. Imagine the Babli Mansa. If you they rule the waves, just like Britannia rule the waves, which means that you navy powerful. In this sense, in the African connotation, the Babli Mansa when they rule the waves means that he's a very powerful man. And you see where Yaya Jammeh don't dress that dress, he don't rap. Small man they inside that clothes there, but all the clothes where you don't put. It looks so much like I don't even know how to describe it. You hold that thick and you don't wear that white cap. But every beginning has an end. Just like the same thing. Man, not like a fish within the water where you go fishing. The fish, they only see the bait, and then they see the hook. I repeat, the fish, they only see the bait, and then they see the hook. But in the meantime, he is the man. Just like before him was Yaya Jammeh. Now let me go back to the story of Yaya Jammeh, where we decide in terms of the international community. Yaya Jammeh did not upset the international community so much so, and the international community, all that talk the way we talk, there is over 176 countries, go check United Nations, members of the United Nations. The international community is about 10 strong, if not even less. But the most powerful country there, which is about 5 of them, comes them the United States, Germany, the United Kingdom, France, and probably on the fringes you get Holland. You know, this not to power them all, but at least then they inside the center of the power there. And Lily Belgium, we go dominate country like Congo for tens of years, kill people and bastardize them, cut their hand, cut their foot, forced labor, rape, pillage, and you name it. So this is not the international community. Away from the international community, you get how they call themselves, I don't almost forget the name, but over 100 non-aligned. Very big. Now, make what they can talk about. Some countries are isolated. It's like, are you serious? Do you understand international, your domain? But we are all, here being, tricked into believing that these 5 countries, because they're so powerful, waiting and saying that for thing, waiting and saying that they be it and end all. Yes, they are powerful, but outside of it, you get the non-aligned made up of over 163 countries. They may not be as powerful as them 5 and 10 today, but these are countries. And we see the shift of the balance of power, geopolitically speaking. Now, having said that, Yaya Jammeh don't offend the international community, i.e. the most powerful. When Yaya Jammeh been in the reign during the early years, he may get the backing of the United Kingdom. He may get the backing of the United States. These 2 countries, they may get heavy interest in it. They still do have heavy interest in the Gambia. And Yaya Jammeh provide the atmosphere for letting people there do waiting and they do. The United States may get a monitoring ship outside of the coast of the Gambia. And then in cahoots with the Gambian government. So you can see them in the CI to day. Britain as the colonial master been get boku interest in the. Now you make you see it was and continue for remain a heavy tourist destination. If they vex by you, imagine your economy depend on tourism, then just they pull out the tourists them and tell them, say, no, go yonder. And can you imagine that's a serious damage and dent to your economy, and that's how then they begin to cripple you. Yeah, Jammeh will call them diplomats them from serious countries them, put them under the burning Gambian sun. And for hours, this man will rant and knock table and point finger, just like our First Lady Fatima Bioki do to the nation. Sit on the point finger, they fit people in the same nation. Then you want to pretend and come and say, well, family, one salon, this, that. Lies. But people are wise. Anyway, that's what Yaya Jammeh used to do. Yaya Jammeh begin for see himself, the all-powerful, begin for challenge the international community in them 5 or 10 nations there. Go to United Nations, make them like September, every September. I think that's September, the UNGA, United Nations General Assembly, where they can invite all the members there. It's a ritual. And then you feel, say, well, you go there, you're powerful because they invite. No, because you are a member of that organization and you do. And for keep we all go to Gladiator and we all look like one. Then give you a chance. You go up there, who say George Bush don't work out, or Barack Obama don't step, or Emmanuel Macron don't step, or David Cameron, or Boris Johnson, or Rishi Sunak now don't step. Who say President Xi of China don't step. And they yourself, they go step. So you there within that powerful. You there within. You're not really powerful, but you there within. So they allow you for do them things there. But you need for respect, waiting, then want for let you respect. Because na carrot and stick approach, they provide the ground for let you say feel as being a part and parcel of. Family, will allow help for share this program, please. We numbers are low tonight. I think say because I begin late and the promise will make sure most people and we don't deviate other side. I can understand that. But the 79 or 80 of us that are watching, if we can shape and please and multiply on 160. We want for keep up with the trend. We don't clock 3,000 plus live viewers them. And 2,000, of course, we don't break the barrier. We will like for go beyond that, not below the threshold. Many thanks. I not say that with any offense. Much love. So this man not offend people. And above all, we know it in neighbor, just like how we did with Guinea. Guinea are the most powerful, na the neighborhood. Guinea Conakry is the most powerful. Economically speaking, we rely on them. And militarily, they get a more powerful military than us. Okay? The same thing with Gambia, Lily country. They offend Senegal, very big, powerful country with a reputable standing at the international community, definitely backed by France to the hilt. We get powerful interest inside it. And then you get this rebel war, they raid na Casamance region. And Yaya Jammeh, they support the rebellion there, much to the chagrin of the Senegalese authority then. So for years, they only try for Fenway for get rid of him. And then this opportunity can arise. Yaya Jammeh went into an elections where we don't cook already. And let me tell you that this documentary there on the BBC, by the way, when I try for look for them. This is what we need for do, the power of research. So when you can sit down, they talk. You they talk with confidence because you don't see them, you don't read them up, and you don't verify them. Trust, but verify. And also from only one source, because me paddy or me uncle or me auntie can tell me I get respect for them. And convention calls say you have to believe, because if you don't believe that mean a FTI, then you're not ready yet. So trust but verify. So you don't verify. Yeah, Jammeh don't cook up this thing. They don't get a voter ballot them and ID card them of over 400,000. Over 400,000. And imagine Gambia is a population of a little over, I think, 1 million people. And the registered voter them, I think, is about 700,000 at the time. And him alone don't falsify over 400,000 of them badged in the voter ID cards. So which means that they're just going to do ballot stuffing on the day, and then they come out bad for them. But guess what? When you tell them don't begin to reach, and when they're ready for undermine you, nothing can stop it. So in young security forces then, in connivance with Western intelligence, then go na the old school side and keep them in the day. Yeah. Then burn the building down, which means that everything will be needed in election materials the way they're supposed for use for rig the election, now in then go burn down So can you imagine? And this is just it be specifically targeted in terms of date-wise. Election will not be there far again. And it's almost practically impossible if you not delay the election or postpone them for let you do all over anything the way you not do. Because these things takes time. Other than that, you blunder will become so obvious. It's all like waiting to happen in our country. The blunder of the report is so obvious that the Electoral Commission are not give a hoot because it's backed by the executive presidency as to how we read the report when you read them. Because it's like, you just go do your own thing, what you do. You leave the rest with me. I'll take care of that. And it's systematic. The Electoral Commission backed by the laws. The law, in this case, is interpreted in a cooked fashion for suit waiting, they say, and behind all of this is the executive presidency. Now, power, they only succumb to greater power. I don't say this for the past 5 years. Same thing happened to Ernest Coleman. Then born Yaya Jammeh in building down with all the ID card inside. There is no way you can rig the election anymore. They went into the elections. Of course, the election's been tight, but you will also see that the determination, they're not only left on by waiting and do to run so, they also come together and form a coalition. The main man where I think they called Darbob in a jail at the time. So there was an agreement for put the guy who did it so now, Adam Abaro, say, well, he's clean, they don't get anything on him. And then when they come together, I think like a 7-man coalition or party them, when they come together for go against this one man, because of course this one man, I know the incumbent is very powerful. Then put Bawode with an agreement, say, well, this is what is going to happen. When we defeat them eventually, you go serve the first term. Second term, because now you're in power, the leader of the main opposition, Dabo, will be out. And then Dabo now will become the president of the country where we organize the next elections. This was an agreement on pen and paper. Anyway, that is for another day. But the bottom line is, they went to the polls, they defeated Yahya Jammeh. Yahya Jammeh accepted the outcome of the elections. He conceded to the winning team. And then later on, dictatorship, not dictatorship no more. Later on, he changed his mind. He said, you know what, I may say yes, but now I say no. Because why? Now, Ina the only powerful man inside. Now, you get the army, now you get the secret services, the police, the this and that. So then people, and they all they get now themselves, they vote and the power of the people. And when the power of the people, they inside you, there is no force that can stop you. But how prepared are we? We on your side and not split the country. You see the jubilation, you see the crowds. I ask questions about those crowds when the president will be summoned. And they say, oh, these are borrowed crowds, these are rented crowds. Borrowed crowds and rented crowds? How true is that? Based on what we don't see now and how we see. How true is that? So we see, say, the country now is split along their lines today, to a point where if you pull people in a street, the other people and pull people in a street, it become a clash, and who know where does this go? And here comes my point now. Do we want the country to go up in flames for the second time? Do we? Are there other means that we can use? Not the courts, because the courts are compromised. And Madabio do that deliberately. Well, if you feel offended, and he even talk up, and these people can return back to history. They say Christian Atop, one-time election commissioner, wait then complain. Imagine this is the president saying this, how reckless this is. When then complain, they say, well, una go police. So if Christian Atop say that, why then not for say that? And this is what is amazing, and I find that really incredible, that 5 years on, 10 years on, we're going to use the same analogy there, where we think, say, we don't move beyond this, and you were given an opportunity on the basis of a new direction. Where is the direction, Mr. President? Anyway, back to the Yahya Jammeh story. Yahya Jammeh changed his mind. Where Yahya changed his mind? Yahya, of course, go be given the opportunity on the basis, they not agree with them, but Mr. President, yes, sir, you know the bra. Why you change your mind? Yahya say, well, you get evidence, then cheat them, and so. You come up with the evidence. The courts decide for look into this. But remember now, the courts no get regard for them again, because they now have the backing of the international community. So that fear is gone of the man. Power don't begin in left and small. Because then people will be the fear and we go do as he say. They're not doing as he say again. In fact, they challenge them along the way. Because why? There was a bigger power behind them. We protect them. We give them the assurance. Say, well, we'll just follow the process, but nobody no go hamper this process, because behind una, we are. So they say, okay, we will look into your complaints, Mr. President. So they look into complaints and find out, say, yes, there were, minor here and there vote problem there. Yes, there were. But when the calculator may collate waiting it talk about, it not make no difference to the election result. So they acknowledge them and say, yes, you're right, sir. But here is it. We've done our due diligence, but it not amounts to anything. We will change the course of these election results. It still say no. You don't know, say the offside trap been done set for her now. Remember, say Senegal, they want them out. So Senegal on their own, and this is the role of the international community now, and on a list you find Famulem. Senegal, be really want them out. Senegal, be really want them out. And what did Senegal do? They're able, they've been big enough, they get the army enough and everything, army, equipment, and you name it, for go and remove on the power. They could have. And then be prepared. By then, Senegal don't send troops in at the border. Gambian is a small country. They work out from one end to the other. But then here comes international community and international law. That would have been a violation and an aggression and a declaration of war against Yaya Jammeh's Gambia by Senegal. And that would have been an act of disrespect, disregard for international law. We continue for maintain and observe sovereignty. The country is sovereign. You can't just walk in there. If you walk in there, that's an aggression. That's an act of war. That's disregarding international law. So Senegal began for pull back. The reason why they mention this, there are notions out there that Guinea can walk into the country in behalf of the Sierra Leonean people. And what they try for say here is, no, it doesn't really work that way. If not being in Guinea's interest, okay, let us say Salone offend Guinea, Guinea can declare war on Salone. And even before they declare war on Salone, they go get for make complaints and then international body them, of which we are members, i.e. the United Nations, ECOWAS, AU, African Union, etc., 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 before it take action, because probably then go legitimize Guinea the action. Or because Guinea a big brother, if they not give Guinea what Guinea wants, Guinea can decide for take things into their own hands, but thereby then go they abuse the sovereignty of another country, will make other people then go come to the rescue of this country whose sovereignty is being abused. So Senegal pulled back. When Senegal pulled back, they went to the United Nations when at the right place, according to international law. Then called for a special session of the General Assembly, the Security Council rather. And they sit down there, they deliberate, then put the case across. And then they say, remember, say the international community, they already did against them. And they talk about Jammeh. So when they bring the case, of course, it was an exercise, an academic exercise for justify on if they will tolerate or authorize war. This is the reason why. So the whole world sees it, just like in the case of Iraq and the coalition of the willing. We'll come to that shortly because these are the things we're trying to outline. Remember, there's also an obligation on the part of the international community on something what they call R2P, which is the right to protect. Let me say, for example, a government, they bastardizing people them. And of course, nothing the people can do, like in the case of Saddam Hussein's Iraq. Then somebody else with power can come inside, but they therefore seek excuse from the international community for take actions of some kind. 1 minute, Famulem. All right, everything seems to be in place. Yeah, for take actions, action of some kind. Yeah. So the United Nations Security Council passed a resolution that Yaya Jammeh need for leave. But even with that, again, this is where I talk about the frustrations on the basis of which the international community can act. They are painfully slow to act because it's diplomacy first, and you get for exhaust all avenues. And in exhausting avenues, you can see it will take quite a while. And especially if you day now the eye of the storm in this sense, now una na the people that within the ground where they go through, waiting una they go through. So they begin for send emissaries to Yaya Jammeh in peers them. In person of, if you remember, the former Liberian president Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was one of the emissary them. And you can remember the discussion between them, it became on protocol. Because now protocol and the government thinks they are, I say on protocol, because Yaya Jammeh actually record that conversation there and make it public, which was not supposed to be the case. But we died the calm now. So in this case, not physically die, I mean the end. What in them they go do, and not only Mami Wangin, there were a flurry of delegations. So go convince and say, listen, my friend, the end is near, the end is now, the end is here. All you need for do, for left little bit of dignity, now for park and left go suffer before waiting the camp can happen. By then now, because the United Nations don't pass a resolution and They no one for see say now with man and they can't do the job because there have been many a times accusations say this not bullying, this they only happen in Africa. So then delegate the duty to ECOWAS and then thereby ECOMOG because ECOWAS already get a team of that kind. Remember, say they've been not forming team there back in the 1990s during the interregnum. There will be take place in Liberia and Salone and furthermore further afield. So they get this situation, you know. They get this situation on the phone and go off and I don't say hot, sorry. Yeah. So they get this situation where you get the right for kind of for protect. Okay? You get the right for protect. Let me see this word that they call whether that contribute, you want contribute or what. Let's see. Right. You get the right for protect. So then go begin talk to her and say you need for leave. Hello, Victor. You want to make contribution to the program? Are they live on a private call?
Yes, sir. Yeah, not a private call at all, Mr. Prince. This program I find very, very interesting.
Victor, identify yourself and say what you want for say. Where you calling from and your name, please.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Me Victor Spain, and they call from United Kingdom, specifically London. And there they call from. The program tonight, we Brother Prince are the host on the Then and Now media platform. Very, very interesting. And I don't listen to a program up to this moment, but I've listened some key points in the way highlight. Either you can go for highlight them later or you maybe skip them.
Please remind me.
So yeah, and the issue of waiting to happen in terms of the politics that we country right now, we see the Western powers I call them deliberately fail for congratulate Mr. President Bio for winning a second term. Well, social media people and they send all kind of statements, all kind of reports. Me, they assure me people that say President Bio go rule complete 5 term in second term in 5 years completely. Now, before people jump and begin criticizing me or curse me, let them first of all listen. There is a geopolitical fight where they go on right now. The West versus Russia, China, and Turkey. And if people do not believe, make I just give you one example. We neighbor, Guinea Conakry. Recently, everybody, the struggle due to the recklessness of Mr. Putin in war in Ukraine, Guinea Conakry, no struggle at all. Now you go for ask me why, Mr. Prince. I'm not saying you did the best for asking why, but now let me tell you. Let me tell you why. The Guinea military leader decided because the West showed them in the go with Russia and guess what? The country in terms of the currency stable, economy stable. Because everything will be the struggle for, then they get very, very cheap. As a result, the struggle will be struggle this past 1 or 2 years. They make Mr. Bio for lost election, not affect them at all. All these years, we money strong pass the money, but this time, Guinea the your money, retreat. Now, come back to me point I want to make. One, say, Mr. Bio, go rule in 5 years, bang, 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 waiting the highest thing with the West don't do, don't do so, for criticize them. In fact, by criticism, they clearly state them, say they still maintain a relationship with the people of Sierra Leone. I want people to understand that statement. Let them digest them and understand what that means. That means there will be no sanction on Sierra Leone. And every support to them will give Sierra Leone, they will give them. Now, how they for pressure Mr. Bio for come up? Either have to make a power changeover, will not possible. clearly because you don't give reasons why that not going to happen. You know, with a sovereign state, with the Western world, no one for just to interfere and put leaders and so. Unlike putting the apple na Gambia, we see, which have maybe done the insult the West for quite a long time. I was in the Gambia. The guy was completely rude to the Western world. This is not the case with Sierra Leone. In fact, Sierra Leone, they just make we a member of the United Nations quite recently. Meaning, the West up to now were very, very happy with Mr. Bill in governorship. So, me they say I'm clearly the West they afraid for lose one more country to China, Russia, or Turkey.
Okay.
It is clear. They don't hide it. They do not want that to happen.
Okay, Mr.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Spain.
Mr.
Yeah, okay, Mr. Spain. Many thanks for that. I'm a bit taken aback with one or two. I mean, the things that what you say are very clean, concise, precise, and I really like this analysis. Other than I'm surprised that you they make this analysis when it comes to the West, because
yes,
and this is also a friend.
I know
you understand where I'm coming from? Okay, then I will say no more.
Make a disclaimer now.
I will say no more.
I'm not a fan of Russia. That don't explain all to which you are asking.
Yeah, well, apart from being a fan of Russia,
you not
Victor.
By no means advocating a relationship with Russia.
Victor, no, away from that. Victor, away from that. They talk about the international community generally, and when it comes to regime, then Africa. So, had it been another, me and you, we've had conversation dozens and dozens and dozens of time. I think we understand, we mindset them to some extent. And at this now they speak to, when it comes to the international community, these powerful countries, I know how you beholding them, how you love them, how you speak of them, and how they stand on the side of justice and what have you. And owing to waiting happiness alone, for our friend, let you they say that it not go happen, or you make the case in terms of geopolitics. But the idea that you then back the local governments as opposed to international community, i.e. Britain, United States, where you normally deal with 110%, it shows that you are 100% in support. And this are the alleged, you are 100% in support of the Madabio government, are you?
No. Well, I like the way you put 100. Well, actually, me, they see things far. I know, like I've said today, we've been getting a conversation at the forum why I use the word genesis. I mean, use the word genesis. I won't repeat what I've said because I know one people and come at me or many. We know the madness with the happen in our country. Every sensible Sierra Leonean know the genesis of the madness in our country, except you're in denial. Me actually prefer let mother get a second chance. Because from making judge on that one time, he make numerous mistakes. Yes, that is open. But we cannot really judge him on those mistakes for a one time. We're being blighted with so many external.
Yeah, but Mr. Spain, Mr. Spain, you can make the case on that basis, there. But do you think, say, the country get time for that? We talk about 10 years. So if you come inside 5 years, you can't show us, or you can't show the people something. Who's guarantee way in the next 5 years? Victor, let me finish.
In Spanish, where they say exactamente. Let me explain what it means exactly. In 10 years, there will be no more excuse.
No, Victor.
Only man
Victor,
responsible
Victor,
for every failure we make.
Victor. The constitution of the country says a president can only have 2 terms of office, 5 years each.
Yes.
So your first 5 years is a test, it's a litmus test for a second year. You assure the public say the president failed in the first 5 years, but you allow we give him a second, a final term. What's kind of proposition, Victor?
Well, you don't simplify mistake. You don't make them very simplistic to the man. We don't know the genesis of this conversation. He go believe you. That is not exactly what I'm saying.
Okay, well, so what are you saying then?
Yeah, what I'm saying, this man, show we sign say, going for move the country forward. And that's not, nobody can deny that. There were errors made. The mistake, the trouble with the economy, the factors were beyond his control. Based on that alone, and even with all those turbulence we get, we still see it makes strides in terms of development, in terms of changing the discourse of our country. It brought in respect. Sierra Leone was no longer respected outside our boundaries, our borders. He is done that.
You say what? You say what? You say what?
Our country was no longer respected outside our borders.
How so?
Mr. Bio restored that respect
Victor,
for the country.
Victor, let's talk one bar. You've had enough airtime, so if I interfere now, at least you not go blame me. Did you just say that our country previously was not respected beyond our borders, but President Bio has brought but you understand where I come from, that President Bio don't bring respect to the country?
Yes.
So you don't realize, they follow social media. Victor,
they don't bring respect.
Victor, now give me
the election side.
Victor,
goodness me. In all time we do.
Victor, talking fast does not make you point, because I will still ask me question. Give me an example how the country was not respected previously outside of its border, and how President Bio, give me example on how President Bio don't make the country don't become respected outside of the borders.
Okay, Sierra Leone, we are a donor-driven country, right?
Correct.
And it is the case now, and it was the case then. Prior to the 2018 election, which we see, the World Bank, the IMF, they pull away from we country. Reasons being, they were so much dissatisfied with the way how Chroma in the run we country. Now, if they have respect for we, they won't do that. Now
so,
that dignity.
So now the example.
So now they brought that back.
So now
also, with all the challenges,
Victor.
So Sierra Leone was made
Victor.
a non-permanent member of the United Nations.
Victor.
This will never have happened. Sir, you asked me a question.
No, you've answered it. Victor, you've answered it, and we'll not get all the time for let you read your sermon. Okay. You need to understand. I've given you plenty of time. So let me come in now and help you. Now I make ask you for specific examples. And you get for stop this. Victor, this sound really ridiculous. So first of all, do you ever say Saudi Arabia get horrible human rights record, not so? Then kill journalists, then cut people in here. Do you know say Saudi Arabia became the chairperson inside the United Nations of the Human Rights Council? No, you don't know that. Anyway.
Yeah, there are reasons. You don't make it. You bring simplified and
no. This is not simple. Victor.
We the ordinary man. Understand, sir.
Victor, how the ordinary man go understand you, but they never understand you. You say that clearly. You mentioned the United Nations, so I give you pound for pound. Inside United Nations, you say the president became Mr. Sise. If you watch the program, I will give you a call. We're done with Victor, please. You say inside the United Nations, Mr. Sisi, I will call you back. I shall say you want to contribute. Inside the United Nations, so I give you a similar example. But that is a ridiculous statement if you understand how the United Nations they work. This is why I give you the example that no matter what, as a due paying member and you still there inside the UN, then position they are rotational position. When you term reach, you will serve regardless of who you are. Now, he make you the Saudi Arabia example. So you miss that one day altogether. Let we go to President Kouoma in your term and Marabio in your term and the example back where you make. that during President Koroma in term, we see the World Bank pull out and what have you. So the reason why the World Bank pull out is because they're not just pull out because they're vexed with them. Then give them conditions. He said, no, I'm not going to abide by these conditions. So on that basis, they didn't pull out. But having said that, under President Madabio, didn't the World Bank pull out for major exercise such as the midterm census? Or you don't know that we make the midterm census appear, not forget, no credibility at all, zero credibility, including other organizations. Then do you know this, Victor?
After I know that, but they still give.
Yeah, okay, then we will have to leave it. Victor, we will have to leave it for there. Victor, because now the argument now the way una don't they make, and that these are cheap arguments. You begin with your conversation by saying that Victor, let's not speak over each other now. Let's not speak over each other. The audience they listen to we, and the audience go judge. When we talk, you own example and now they throw at you. Listen to the other ridiculous statement where you just make, which is true, but in the context, it's ridiculous that they still give them funding. They're not be the give President Koroma funding. Because they get obligation to the government and the people, so they can pull out certain side, but other side then they wouldn't. Then do the same thing to Madabio when they give 20 million grant and una jump. Hey, well, I mean, una be they say now so with the measure. This is amazing, Victor. Anyway, Victor, not can me blood pressure go up. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
No worries at all. Always
nice having me.
Whatever the case, brother, it's always a pleasure talking to you. We go catch up. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay then. Okay, so that was Brother Victor. My goodness. You see, this now they talk about the international community, what we talk about earlier on. We get for really understand how then they work. We get for understand. Just because they give Mother BO 50. You see, I mean, I've been talking to one my good friend yesterday. My friend they tell me, he said, listen, this sort of things the way una can try to articulate, so it don't really matter to the country, I mean to the people. This is academic exercise, but not really matter to them. Because now you need to understand how the international community they work. Listen to what my friend just said just now. You get to understand, say, as a signatory to the United Nations, as a member of the United Nations, then half body then they are rotational in terms of the presidency or the chairmanship of them body then they. So when you come then they give you a typical example. Saudi Arabia then chop up the head, bone sword a journalist inside the embassy na Istanbul, Turkey. Kill him. They deny. The Turkish government, they bug the embassy and they record everything waiting they do to the man. The screams is unbelievable. Nobody in the right mind go and listen to where somebody there alive where they cut you up. Can you imagine? We only see that in a rebel war. So we get an idea what it can look like. One grand day, they caught 80 some more people ahead of Saudi Arabia. Human rights record appalling. But yet, when the term reached, they made them imagine the Human Rights Council, Saudi Arabia became the chair. Because I've been in time. This is how the organization works. So then how you can use that example, especially for somebody with sabi a little bit as how it work. Then you say, well, me make it simple. But no, I use like for like. You say, under the past government, the United, how you call it, World Bank pull out and what have you. Didn't the World Bank pull out under President Bio in specific places then? Major exercise such as midterm census, we go determine the outcome of this election or the process towards this election where we just hold so. We make part of the answers to that is questionable because the process that was used was not credible. You know, we get any credible partners then, they pull out. So you see the dysfunction right there and the disingenuity. You see that you want to criticize the other, which you entitled for do, but you get to be smart enough in terms of your comparative analysis, where I think my brother not do quite well. The United Nations example, the laughing stock. They say President Bio restore the dignity. So it is saying word for word from waiting President Bio say. But yet, if forget say, then go, I think, that South Korea or somewhere, imagine the presidency. They say because the previous government be old, so they not allow them for go inside the hotel until they get for make arrangement for pay. Well, in fact, All of that was settled, and this not the way the presidency they function. Not the way you reach in a hotel lobby and then you go sign paper them for go inside the hotel. Although at this period now we see double dipping inside government. You got to understand how it functions. So that's a bit a surprise for me. And when they come up on that exercise day on propaganda basis, when we bother they repeat now, they come, oh, go clean the image, my business stuff, or clean the country image, you're outside. Are you serious? I mean, this is on you. That's laughable. And I don't want to say this, but now under this government, now we see the mockery and disregard for Sierra Leone. The government, the first lady, is at a heightened, all high. It's at an all high. Paran, the famous Nigerian comedian, they mock with presidency any day. And you can't fault them for that. And at the same thing that happened all around the place. The partner flights, the fly president. What are you talking about? You want to talk about dignity and respect? But again, within this show is the mindset. Is you tacit support. Where subconsciously, you not can realize that that's now you they do. Because somewhere inside, where you try for suppress, this is what you actually support. But then when you can't make the case, especially in a public platform, Bonafor can't find Bo, and especially if they can't talk to, if they can't talk to me. If they can't talk to me on them basis, and you can just give you good examples. I'm familiar a little bit with the way it works. Saudi Arabia, chairperson of the council, Human Rights Council, so abhorrent, so disgusting that some country then walk outside. It's like, this is not possible. Only after people in protest. But you see, now the process, and we see when they make Sierra Leone the chair of this committee. Lovely, good one. Did that put food on the table? Well, outside, yes, it's some form of respect, but a process. Every member inside there, as disgusting as you can be, when you term reach, you they occupy the position. Now, so protocol dictates. Let me see what in this other brother get for say. There's another call. Yeah, make I don't lose my trend. Anyway, we'll be talking about Yaya Jammeh. So in the end, they prevail on Yaya Jammeh, and Yaya Jammeh began for left. Because why? Ecomog then don't come. He be facing a joke. Ecomog don't come. Ecomog begin for fly. Yaya Jammeh still there inside Gambia. Ecomog they fly. Over per alpha. We all know per alpha, waiting per alpha mean. And other head of state then come, at least because the man now be head of state or head of state. It get a dignified end. They don't want to see a kind of Samuel Kayondo sort of scenario in which a president will rule the nation for 10 years plus was butchered to death and left stark naked for the public for see the emperor with no clothes, waiting all things look like underneath the president's skirt or into a cis. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Hello, caller. Yes, you want to make a contribution to the program?
Actually do contribution. First of all, I'm not be just one, like I don't know which is the topic of the day, but so frustrating when you get Victor, they're all over the place and they make me and around, say make it difficult how we will follow up with you. That will be first objective.
Yeah, it derailed me.
Yeah, because the reason why we listen to you, you they present the program in a diverse way. You allow everybody to come into the program and say their view regardless. And I'm so happy where automatically went on to say you sympathize with view, and then at the end it got Gandhi, and he always goes himself just admit to the point. You know?
Yeah. Okay.
So,
okay, Abdul.
Yeah, if you want, let me do carry on, maybe Allah just go back part of the program because we just want on your way to be people with intellectual. Actually, they come from UK, and I always only listen to your program.
Okay.
And I always when we get bits of expertise, you know.
Yeah.
They give you the courage for reading at the West, and the people that present things like how we did now. They don't just talk because they sympathize. Imagine this man go talk to geeky article be another 5 years. But you don't already tell them what they did. How the constitution, the workers alone. When at the same demand, not even they talk like somebody where maybe don't at the West say that you do election time after time. You know?
Yeah.
So it's so pathetic because I don't know in background, I don't have for even time for get to for insult time to any because I don't make the program point to the same. So that person can criticize me. I just want to present the program, you give people a little time for talk, and then we see how all the continue. Because alone they're in a critical condition situation now where nobody don't know the next step. And if you get family that they get business, they get even a project where say and they contribute to the country, you will find out frustrated to see how the country will go next.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, Abdul.
If the man talk as if all this man begin bring a geopolitical thing. Yes, we all know what a geopolitical thing will go around. Because this will not start to it would drag on to Liberia. And at the end of the day, then three presidents all work together and begin make the country. The whole Memano River become difficult for the entire country. People say for survive from Guinea, that's how we get to sanction where we not go to survive from them. We not go to survive from Liberia back. So at the end of the day, we become outsider then. So for him to say, the president now don't make the country name no recognize it's like talking as if the man wait all the way to the suburb.
Yeah, anyway, that's fine. Many thanks, Abdul. Many thanks for that.
Yeah, so far, they can now make the time, not just want to let you make a little time, let people contribute something good. Yeah, not be on the list.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Many thanks for that. Okay. Yeah, that was another brother, Abdul. Obviously, Mr. Spain is a very good friend of mine. Away from the front of the camera, we always have these conversations. And trust me, it can be more heated, here than this. Victor can always manage for Kemi, blood pressure go up. I mean, these are things I understand. And again, to the public, you see what's happening. But anyway, on a good note, of course, Victor is an academic. But sometimes, even when you're an academic, you simply not able to control your sentiment, your feeling towards something where you get soft spot for, and I can always accuse them of that. I mean, you can't come and say, give him a second time, they make mistake in. Of course, that's not your opinion, or you appeal to others, but you need to understand there are only two terms. Yeah, now I make you first time, you get for make an impression. Because the thing where you need to understand as well is when you make that impression on your first term, that is what you are taking to the voters for appeal to them for a second term. Other than that, I mean, you are done, toasted. Now it make you see the president not be a message. Because it be the president in message, Adebayo. The president in message be Adebayo. For goodness sake, Adebayo is not a candidate, was not a candidate, but yet on the campaign trail, now we read. We know you nothing but the free education, about the roads, the bridges, the policies, government, equal opportunities, job protection. No, because they were not there. So it then become a dirty trick, dirty game. Let me see what's in this other person here. Hello, caller. Yeah, caller. Guess say you want to contribute to the program. You go get for turn you volume where you watch the program with down to zero.
Thank you.
And you can identify yourself, who's you they call from, and then the floor is yours.
Okay. Mina is citizen Australian.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, would I hear you?
So I just want contribute to waiting Mr. Victor talk for say Mother Bioka with respect na Sierra Leone because Sierra Leone gain a seat na the Security Council. This is the first time, which of course na lie. Sierra Leone they don't occupy this seat during Castilian reign. So this is not the first time. I don't want to go deeply. I just want to correct them. Yeah, I just want to say it to the public, so let the public know about it. For say, Namada Bio in now get a seat at the Security Council. No, this will not happen during Castilian. That's what I want to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that correction, sir. And I shall say, Mr. Smith, listen, and that's a good one. Thank you. Good night. So there you have it. Victor don't upset it upset a lot of people. Anyway, I'll just go back straight to the program. So now so then take pull ya jame. Okay, but you need to understand the basis on which they pull them. In concede to election, it change your mind, they put a case forward, they look into the case and say, "Bruh, we don't look into this case. This is not the margin. Whether we add on to you, it make no material difference to the results. So far, you really need for go. Delegation upon delegation, they manage for convince them, and I think they offer asylum na Guinea-Bissau, or one of them Guinea them. So that's where he is up to this day. And by the time they go, they make sure say it clear. Because Yahya Jammeh thought that he owned the Gambia. He actually owned the Gambia. Imagine Babli Mansa. He ruled the waves, yeah, the seas, the oceans. He emptied the coffers, stack loads of money, yeah. Put her inside vehicle, bring plane, put her inside plane. The fly go off somewhere in the meadows. Whether they will chase her later, it's not impossible because when the broker deals, this is exactly what they can do. They can give you a 10-year period because they want to avoid bloodshed. Say, okay, bro, left. But anyway, that was one scenario, and we see what thing happen, and you can see that there's a difference to the Sierra Leonean case. It's a complete difference to the Sierra Leonean case. Another case where people can mention is that of Kenya. In the case of Kenya, this is a more developed and advanced country. And I say this, and the most critical component of the case in Kenya is the institutions. They are very powerful and get a significant degree of independence. And now they talk about the institutions that can make the difference. I.e., in this case, the Supreme Court of Kenya. And not only Kenya, a few countries in East Africa, they've made leaps and bounds of advances in the area today where it's really amazing. So when it comes to the case of Kenya and the election between two rivals there, the sons of two rivals, they were friends and then they became rivals. Now the founding father of Kenya, Z. Jomo Kenyatta, and Raila Odinga, where the two picking them, now then they compete. So of course they've excused the scene a little bit now, but you get the two sons, which is Uhuru Kenyatta, the son of Z. Jomo Kenyatta, the first president of Kenya, and the first vice president of Kenya, Yon Pikin, Raila Odinga. Okay? They pitch between themselves. Of course, Uhuru Kenyatta won the presidency. The first time, there was serious case. And fed people and die. Uhuru prevailed. Second time, same thing between the two people. And remember the clan, then where they come out. Yeah, Luo, I think they come out from the Luo clan or something like that. Pure rivalry between them. But they were supposed to be good friends because after all, then Daddy then have been the founding fathers of Kenya. But this is not political thing now they talk about, so they fall apart. Their tribes pitch against each other, and thousands of people then die in that process day. International community being there for come inside, but when they come inside now, in respect of, let's take this other call. Hello, caller.
Yes, President Kowan, how are you?
Yeah, I mean, your name and who side you call from, and the floor is yours, please.
Yeah, I call from the same UK. Don't try to be program. It's just a contribution. I just get you. I like the way you talk and what you say. Good, but at least we don't analyze and we don't see the lecture. I'm going. As you say, if we go to the rules, then the rules are all different.
You sound brother. You sound not very clear. Yeah.
You hear me now?
Would they hear you, but you don't sound very clear. Well, anyway, maybe the audience they hear you. Me not they hear you very clear, but I'm sure they get you. Are you speak on speaker or earpiece or something?
No. I speak on the phone.
Okay, well, carry on, please. I sure hear you.
I just say suggestion. It is suggestion. Say at least no was positive. The country, whatever result you go get money, will not go change it. I say don't. But the thing is to say our like can is the positive way, positive criticism, like waiting for those and way forward. Everybody, even the layman know the problem of the country. We go to negativity and then ever solve the problem. They just make suggestions say, look at the positive way for the country for level go forward. Another criticizing program, I just want this year, because it's not the first year of this start, where they don't swear other people. That will start to talk positive for people that down there, let us know what to go on. Because if we criticize, we cry, the problem is to get it solved, but that will talk positive way, that will motivate people. The spirit and motivation spirit can help the people grow up in terms of development and keep the spirit going. And I'm the only suggestion
Yeah, just before.
Because the country failed, that's how we don't fail. Now the APC win, APC fail, that's how we don't fail. I just want to say that.
Just before you go, thank you very much for your contribution and thank you for the respect accorded the platform. But I equally they look for criticism, but the criticism only thing it should be constructive. So yes, I entertain and encourage criticism, but I appreciate that. But it will interest you for no say. For me personally, where I don't come under heavy fire, I have extended congratulations to the president-elect, and I do so in the interest of peace. And just like you say, I don't look the thing left, right, and at this now they try for articulate narrative the way some people and they talk about the international community. Of course, fair enough, but the international community now they can grab Marabio and just pull and commodity. And this now the case where they try for make why they give them the different scenario about waiting happen at Kenya, where they pan before you call, and then waiting happen at the Gambia. You know, because people then feel say that you go organize a force for can remove Marabio. No, and it's going to be painfully slow the process, and Marabio will sit down there and waiting you go get for doing for going to court. But then the international community can bear pressure on the courts and on the government for do the right thing. And then go say that they do the right thing, but they waste time. 3 months here, 6 months here, 9 months here, before you go look, you are halfway into the money administration. This is the thing I've been trying to do, and as aside with you, for let we make progress, we therefore understand these things so that we can support the various way we need for support, so the country will go before.
So before you go, so what are you individually? Which you feel more forward. Not what people say as you know presenter and which is your contribution, which you expect to go forward according to which you say.
What I know is Marabio has been declared winner. There are questions about the elections results, and myself questioning election results today. But I look into left, right, and center. I look at the opposition, waiting at the options left with the opposition. Now for going to court. Who that own the courts? Now, Marabio own the courts. If the outsiders then do not come, the powerful countries such as Britain, the United States, the EU, 26 countries or so, not come and prevail and then on them courts and Marabio for do the right thing, Marabio is going to sit down there for 5 years. He's going to sit there for 5 years, brother. So
I understand
that. Yeah. Okay, brother. If you still listen, please call again and try for complete that point today, because yes, I love the engagement and I try for feel and see where you're going with this. But I'm open, here for answer and myself open for listening to people and for understand. So like I've been say, now Kenya, then go into Uhuru Kenya, not Uhuru Kenyatta. Raila Odinga challenge the outcome of the election result. It take them to the Supreme Court. Because of the independence of the Supreme Court decide for hear the case. They read the case, they look at the evidence presented, and then rule in favor of the complainant, who was Raila Odinga. And waiting the court advice or waiting the court prevail on them, on the government, is to have a rerun of the election. Because why? There was widespread irregularities, ballot stuffing, violence used. And therefore, they asked for a rerun. And the government being constrained. They had to do it and then do it. Imagine this now the Supreme Court now prevail on them. So then do the rerun. After they don't do the rerun, anyway, Uhuru go on again for win. But the bottom line is, this now the scenario. And we can go on again and cite few other countries. But coming back again to the country, we need for understanding, just for go to the point where the brother will make, we need for understand, say, Marabio, as an executive president, and I think in the third term now they make this, he rule over all of the land supremely with iron fist and won't hesitate for do anything. When they say this does not make it right, and in fact I condemn that. But this is the situation as a consequence of the kind executive presidency where we get. The interesting thing now, where people and family need to understand as well, and Mr. Spain, if you still listen, and I think say you mentioned this, for give you credibility, you when they talk about credibility in a process, you have to be congratulated by your peers and others upon your election victory. Anything will fall short of these congratulatory messages, take mine away. I'm just a minute part of that, and I don't justify why I did so. We need to move on. Then your victory, it end up for being sour. Your victory end up for being sour. Because not a victory where you enjoy. The thing where you want bask in the glory, say, well, you don't win. And then you come in and come out and they congratulate you, you are smiling. The president of the Republic of Guinea, Colonel Lansana Doumbouya, has sent a message of congratulations rather, to his brother and friend, His Excellency Julius Maada Bio of the Republic of Sierra Leone on his re-election. The President of the United States is pleased to extend congratulatory messages with the President of Sierra Leone on his re-election, President of France, the Prime Minister of Britain. This is big. This is huge deal. None of this has happened because why? Your credibility hangs in the thread. Your credibility hang na pan thread. So as we talk, so we know say beaucoup negotiation they go on. And before this time, maybe don't say all Maada Bio be want. Now what did they play out? So this now in playbook. It be just want for June 24 come. Anybody will be standing in way June 24 for eliminate you in a small team for them. But June 24 for come 2023, the whole election, the election results, the proclaimer by the electoral commissioner declare him winner. Whatever else come, we go to talk him. On me and the president now, and as per virtue of the power vested in me as the constitutionally elected president, if you get claim for say the vote's not right, go na the courts, go lodge complaint there. Who own the court? I repeat again, na in. So here comes the international community for prevail on President Bio. Say, listen, my friend, we want clarity, we want transparency, and these are things that you sign up to, even just to the lead up of the elections. I mean, suffice me for say this. Some people let me feel say the international community go prevail on them on the day. That means you don't understand the mindset or not be understand the way the thing they go. Then now then go dictate say this is what we want. No, it's not to say they work. Because again of the law of sovereignty that we go ask you, say Boduya, now for respect the law the way you be signed. You can choose to, but you do so at your own peril. Now it can always happen after. Now they talk about potential sanctions. But the sanctions has proven not to work. And I need to talk about Sierra Leone alone, and they talk about the world over. Because let we understand why they can impose sanctions, family. And other sanctions they affect, and the reason why. Sanctions, they only affect the people. And the people that when they impose the sanctions, they know that. But then they expect an effect. And that effect, the way that they expect, now, when you feel the burden, like for example, you withdraw the funding where you provide in a certain sector. And this go back again to Victor. So they still put sanction and embargo on you, but they still they support other side then because they not expect a collapse. The duty now for also keep government running, but very limited ways, whilst then they apply pressure on the other side. It's called in diplomacy the carrot and stick approach. Somebody they whip you, but at the same time they give you water for drink. But the amount of whip way they whip you is more than the amount of water way they give you, so that you will get exhausted. So this is the thing. That if the international community like Britain don't begin to come out with very strong statements, of course you need to read into the statements and understand say when the international community speak, the language that they speak is different. There's an interpretation to diplomatic language as opposed to everyday language. You will face the consequence. What does consequence mean? Threats and veiled threats or physical, waiting self will take place. No. And if it's going to happen, you will see there will be a flurry of activities, just like similarly waiting happen at the Gambia, not to wanted. They go seek authorization from the United Nations. the United Nations go most likely delegate them to the AU, or they go to the AU because the AU is becoming more powerful and independent itself, and the AU will send them down to ECOWAS, when are the regional body, and because they get that body there, if you take intervention of Astafullah, Father forbid, let's put that aside. Because Marabio is well dogged in. So I'm not thinking that whether they consider themselves, so they rather use the diplomatic front. Now go back to something where Victor been saying in terms of geopolitics. Let me try to articulate that well. I think what the border been try for say, because the world is split now, and you no longer have a unipolar world, we have a multipolar world now, in which there are other powers. Before then, it was only the United States and her allies. Great Britain, France, Germany, Holland, Belgium, and you name it, Western countries then. But now you have the emergence of Russia. Russia is a superpower. For those of you who don't know, because I know say some brother and they will not know, because we get this conversation. Even the United States, at one time, I think that the late John McCain described Russia as a gas station, petrol station, where they act like country. But now the United States don't begin to acknowledge them and they are a power. And not of us they don't know, they know. And then you get China, and then you get Iran, and then you get Turkey. I mean, all these are powers, and you get India. So we need for understanding calculation there, and I think saying that me brother be the try for say, if you not back me, I get other side where I can go look, I get other side where I can go cry, and they will back me. So when you put sanction for me, I can bypass you sanction because I get other side there also I can go with. I will go do business with Iran, even though not black markets. I'll go do it with them. I will get oil. But all that they go just help for put strain on the people there. But the effect of sanction now for pressure the people there when they feel the pain, so that they go uprise against the government. And when they uprise, if the government is ruthless, the government go take gun and turn them against the people and kill the people. And there comes the international community, and that R2P I talked about earlier on, the right to protect, it kicks in automatically. That you have, the government can no longer protect its people. It's killing, you don't hear this phrase, boku boku tem, killing their own people. So now on that basis, an intervention can be arranged, a military intervention for can create a buffer between the people where the international community obligate for protect, because its government cannot protect them any longer, and separate them from the government, and then begin some other conversation. But you get Boku people who are left wounded. You get Boku people who are left confused. You get Boku people who are left with emotional outbursts. Now it's not the time for emotion, it's time for level head. It's time for level head. You feel say, una feel say, Mother be not be know what he do, not be not making calculation. You see, one of the problems I know is the constant overlooking of this guy. The constant overlooking of this guy, and this might surprise other people and begin what I'm just about for say, is this man is a planner. In fact, I don't say this before. This man not organized a coup plot before. Forget about waiting in UFC, in husband get PhD in coup plotting. Of course, that was a wrong statement for make, especially international platform and of you level. You don't make such statements, not to think the way you brag of. But it don't make coup before. For make coup, and I think that the first lady been a try for express. It means say you sabi play chess. You're a high dimensional chess player. You sabi move pieces, whose pieces the way you move, when for move them, for checkmate the king, so that you emerge victorious. I mean, loathe him, like him, he's done it before, and on that level, which means that you're strategic, which means that you can plan, which means that if you rival or an enemy in this case, then they think like you, then they go into your mindset, but constantly they overlook you. And I think that the guys have don't talk then you are making a mistake, because he will always kick you. He will always, pin you down, because he's ahead of you in the game, and you think say you there ahead, and he keeps proving that over and over again. I mean, for win somebody get for lose Fambulem. And in this case, it doesn't really matter how you win. Let's be honest. It doesn't really matter how you win. We can question that. Filthy win, this win, that win. He won. He used unconventional means. He broke the rules. Forget to Usai, and one forget so. Which means that, to some extent, you get for play them to in game. And I didn't think say APC been getting opportunity then they. I'm not on the inside, so I don't know why APC not play ball. The idea is APC come out and give ultimatum. And it been time like say APC did not decide say now where we go play you to your game. When they issue that ultimatum. What thing happen after the expiration of that ultimatum? It's unbelievable. You issue an ultimatum and then you fizzle out of the ultimatum. A family wanna know what happened? When everybody may expect in the form everybody, the government supporter them all, APC supporter them all, expect when the ultimatum done, we are going to see action because the things that we ask for, they are not being given us inside this 72 hour. What is now going to happen? And because of action, we are going to take a course of action. People that come out, because I think it's been a day of rally and people have been expecting, well, this is it. It turned out to be something else. It really turned out to be something else. That the people that were supposed to lead the charge in pressing of the leader of the opposition and the vice leader of the opposition in presence of Dr. Samora Kamara and Cherno Cherry Kokoba, you know who believe they end up na Pujeru. Have you asked yourself, waiting and go do na Pujeru, where the action was in Freetown, and when they go Pujeru, they will say the ultimatum then expire. Did they talk anything about the ultimatum or do something in action because maybe they want to mobilize the forces on that side? No. No, not at all. Not at all. Instead, they abandon Freetown. Freetown, they look for leadership. They abandon. And one day we go hear this. Because you get big one inside the All People's Congress, we know this. Now, twist, 9 people and they twist. Listen, family, then we understand the mindset a little bit of the two people and we did before the All People's Congress. Nobody did say they should be thugs, but they are not. They are not. Marabioge, the mind. Marabioge, the mind. Dr. Samora Kamara is a technocrat and not a politician. He is a 72-year-old man. Keep this in your mind. He's a 72-year-old man. He's not violent in any shape, sense, or form. Just listen to the statement the way they pull. Of course, not party statement the night they go read, but I'm sure you get influence inside there. But watching body language. He is not. And Marabio knows this. Marabio knows this. Marabio, in people in the dance now in office, they don't declare results yet. He gets 60% already don't read. If you get 60%, which means that they already get the 100%, they just hold the 40% back for feel the people. They see reaction. APC go begin assemble at the office. But tell you how the man don't give a hoot. International community today, observer today, he send in people and they send them they go shoot. They go shoot. I mean, are you with me when they feel me drift? They go shoot. What did that mean? That's a statement of intent that I don't give a damn. I am the bravo naya, I mean the lepet naya. Yeah. Except you willing for take physical action against me. Other than that, and I'm well dug in, I'm well prepared. Don't they train for this? I don't they gear myself up for this day and waiting they come beyond. If you're ready, are ready. But no, Dr. Samora Kamara not ready. We hear the opposition number 2 man, Cherikoko, where we come out. The statement itself is pathetic. Where we come out, we know they go inside again. So waiting happened. Waiting really happened with the statement. So when they come and tell people they one thing, and when I go and do another, Then you get people that will go upset when you try for do the analysis there. But this is fact. We now know them. And in fact, we get benefit of hindsight because the term don't pass Laurent. When we come on, I don't need to go inside again. And remember, there was a prevailing circumstance where make that statement. And nothing not good and way since then. Alternate statement. Yeah. And now, not just for provide hope for the hundreds and thousands, if not millions, of supporters, we didn't get. This is atypical. We are not going to recognize the results of these elections. We protest the election results. We go report to the United Nations and we order partners them. Of course, they are aware. Of course, they were there. Of course, reports have been compiled. And the reports are damning of the incumbent. Mind you, they are damning of the incumbent. But who sits there? Likely scenario, I think, say anybody will try for ask. I still believe, say, Madabio will still continue for Sidonde until, and this now if, the international community bear so much pressure on them for have a rerun. And there has to be a process for let itself say face after they don't put this enough pressure on them and say, okay, well, we will go through the courts, we go empower the court and let the court act with independence based on the availability of physical evidence. In this case, the RRF forms, the reconciliatory forms, where apparently Marcella Samba Sise of NEW, National Elections Watch Organization, they are in possession of, which was given to them by the same ECSL because they had representation. Now, all the polling stations around the country, all of them, they had over 6,000 polling agents. The ruling party not be even get this number. So this RRF form, by one booklet, there are 6 of these pages. So when somebody win, you give them one. The second runner up, so forth and so on, you give them one. Other one, you take them, you put her inside the bag. Other one, you give party agents them. So Marcella Sambasi says NEW, apparently they in possession, which is an incriminating evidence. We go read opposite of waiting the national elections, their release. And that's exactly what they happen now. So when they talk about a court case potentially, my problem here with a court case, I believe in a court case. The problem here is who owns the court. We therefore imagine that some time ago, Marabio weaponized the courts, the police, the army, the hijacking of institutions. Me and Cherno Africanist Press Bar, we do many programs on this same platform regarding the hijacking of institutions. You may not agree with Cherno Bar on a few things, but largely it helped for cripple the Marabio regime. Help for cripple them. Expose after expose based on credible investigative journalism. Expose after expose based on credible journalism, investigative. But then with people themselves get problem. When the team in the play to their advantage, they supported Mr. Barr. When Mr. Barr turned in gun on them, and now they became critical of Mr. Barr. This is the anomaly. This is the mischievousness of we people. Now, let's articulate something in terms of potential outcome. One, this court, but the court, heavy pressure has to be there upon them from the outside. And from what they understand, that has begun. That not mean say better be they go. Let's get that clearly. That not mean say it go. Depending on the amount of pressure, if they lack, nobody can recognize them. Of course, that's bad because you become a pariah. You become isolated. Nobody recognize you. But we've seen this before in the past. I mean, this now years gone. Other country them. They're going to let for get people that we recognize them, go visit and come back and other people and come visit them. But let's face it. How many presidents they don't come to President Bio for the past 5 years? How many party they we really get we come to him? The man is friendless. He really not get party we go call party like us of head of state then they can get along. Just neighboring countries like Liberia, Guinea, the Ivory Coast. I mean, in years past, you see a sort of ambience between them people they are at the heads of state level. visit each other, reciprocatory visits. Sometimes they working visits. Sometimes they, well, I just go see me man this weekend. We'll sit down, we talk, and how for move forward. We take some pictures, photo ops. No, Madabio. Madabio is an isolated figure from day one, and this is his life. This is the man, not to that, extrovert, if you like. He's not a great talker. So the people always say he doesn't even sit down there, talk. Go talk. So people of that kind, you might want to think that they are great thinkers. If Nabi was to be extreme book, they probably for don't be a great philosopher because all the thing their way they think so, they pen them down and they will leave after him. But if pressure not come for beer on this guy, Paddy man them, this guy, they go north side. They sit on there. And the pressure self will be through the courts. Say, well, let them present the evidence. He said, okay, that's fine. When I bring the evidence, when I go to court. Then go to court, 6 months, then adjourn the case. When you go look, you man not knock in first year. 9 months, then also the man sack, if you like, suspend the auditor general. We make all kind of noise. 30 days. Now go down and go so. 30 days, they're not auditing office and start another office then. So we now know the core bono. Who benefits out of that action day? Who? Now, you do have Jara one. Nothing not happen. Now they catch Kamarimba. Then trump up charges against them. Then jail them. 30 days as we speak. Kamarimba in a jail. We know say the case was politically motivated. And you get other people that will believe otherwise. Well, of course, they can believe otherwise. But now, when we get into this now, we know exactly what him. Kamarimba was very critical of the president and the first lady. He was very outspoken. And in fact, in opposition, he was one of the most critical opposition leader. Far better than the APC opposition leader. Where I say, when I for the peace of the country and this and that, when they want to get critical votes, some people they end up na ECOWAS and not in the vote call roll na parliament. When the vote na fall, and then they participate as if with big fool. And then when this election can, you get people that we one can defend as if they not be know waiting to go on. The deceit, the level of hypocrisy. Sell your soul out to Marabio against your own people then now you can't pretend to the rest of us. Are you serious? Are you kidding us? I see Dr. Kane Yunkela, young people and they jump. Young people and they jump. I mean, a man of principle. That's how he was sold to us. And then he go join the Kakadebu. And then when they jump now, it just showed that there is no moral cause to all of these actions. And at this now we need to understand. You are only there for what you believe in, say you did it for, or waiting you able to forget. After all the talk, junta and this and that and criminal cabal and thief and akata and lie, you end up joining the same cause and you fumble and then a media now, they do waiting. But we understand why the doctor do that. Now we cannot elect for talk about them too much. Only when the people in one can begin, they can't talk rubbish, then we go able for outer more and more because we see evidence and we know why. And after all, you for conclude on that basis, the of Dr. Kande, waiting me left. You had to save face. Then people will be the, parambulate all over social media, about righteous cause, Alusain and Alpha and Kainde and Ose. Now today, they want, please, don't even get me started. So let we left down there. So they can impose sanctions on this leadership. They can impose sanctions on this leadership, which is a possibility. What in the sanction they do? The sanction will only affect the little man. And the expected outcome now for let it get outrage and stand up for him right. So you don't even need for wait for sanction if this is the case. They will not need for organize on ourselves. But here is the thing, family will not need for no. With people from the north and northwest, me not really think say they get mind as opposed to people from the south and southeast, and especially in organizing. I know say some people will disagree, but let me make my point. And I read this from a prominent source. Understanding the psychology, the mindset of we people as a whole. Between these two sides, if now the Southeast, for example, been put a 72-hour ultimatum, they will have followed that with action. I repeat, if not the Southeast or Southeasterners them been put up a 72-hour ultimatum, at the end of that ultimatum, there will have been a course of action that they will have set themselves, and then for them go forward with them because they be organized. And when they decide that they go forward with something, they will. With the Northwest, Nagbombos. Pinton Kakruma Saba, you know, they take them. Don't forget the team, the word for them. It's time for me, but me Lily team. They take them. Yeah? And then they take them. Pinton begin knock gun and one have you. I see it go up. Now so it can down. Fizzle out. End of story. Or they say they can't get together. And how will they see so? Because there's no leadership. Because you get people in way it's spontaneous. Then they react, emotional outburst. We not agree, waiting they happen so. But there's no leadership. And so upset and come out. Waiting happen. They muzzle them, kill 2 yanda, kill 6 yanda, and then they die out. They die for nothing. And for the past 5 years, this has been happening constantly. Salon people take heed. I mean, the issue here is if you're going to take action, then your party need for organize you. Other than every other day, 6 Diana, then when I go blow for 1 week or 2 months or 6 months, then 10 Diana, you know, then the party just they compile reports, say they send them to international community. Yeah. I know they say not a good cause of action, but people then continue for die for nothing. For nothing. Hey, bo, what you do? Family, and there are 200 of us watching. And would they ask, would they come to the end of this program very soon? But before we come to the end of this program, we get one advert, and this now the McKinney Convent girl then get the events where they come up. If you're able for patronize them or for patronize them. Take the politics aside, because you see when you mention McKinney, not only McKinney people, then when they talk about a school, McKinney Convent girls. That's what you're supposed to see. Not to the politics first. So please, let me try for understand that. So let me take let me see whether we can do the advert, and then we see whether we can conclude this program. Okay. Let me take a quick advert and see whether we can conclude this program. Very interesting program. Very, very interesting program. Okay, this advert always they play up so different from the others. Let me see whether I go come up. So while we wait for it to come up, we'll still have the conversation with Tuna. I think they don't come up. This should be it. Come on, now, what are you waiting for to play? Okay. So it's a bit temperamental, but while we wait for it to play, let's see what's going to happen. So maybe believe saying that Sidon Marabio Sidon Day, and Marabio be not do the calculation, and he go back again to the coup plot thing. That this man know how for calculate. And one other thing I want for left fumble and know, I don't know whether this advert will play before I've been one for bring down the up. Okay, we'll need for download them. If he says downloaded already. Well, let me continue with that process. The last see. If it doesn't play, that's fine. We'll play it another day. But I guess they will not hear me. One thing we need for take note of is, because we don't forget, that this current executive, the executive for the APC now, is a caretaker executive, and this is not my understanding. And George Fisher be only grant them a stay for letting go conduct this election, and these elections, to a certain degree, is over, or they are over, because there were a series of elections, councillors, mayor, MPs, presidency. It's over. So if not been temporary measure, yeah, if not been temporary measure, now in them put in place so for let them go do these elections, where George Fisher, that political judge, we don't become so on prominent inside APC, not for good reasons. We get a few more minutes for end this program. Not for any good reasons, but for know them as a political persecutor, of the All People's Congress. Then we know say again for call the case soon. Again for call the case soon against the very All People's Congress. They call that case they back soon. And the reason why they call the case back soon, now for let he hand over back power to probably the powers that is supposed to hand over to, which most likely we might see, and I just intimate this, the return of Alfred Peter Conte. I repeat, the return of Alfred Peter Conte. That is, if I get me summary right, in terms of waiting and hope, say that this current executive, they've been there under a temporary stay for go conduct the election because time not been there. George Fisher said, "Una go they go before, una go do what una supposed to do." Now that the process is done or almost about done, yeah. So we need for hand over the party to the relevant executive. We will take the party most likely to a reform, and the party need for reform. Every party need for look internally and reform, especially after the loss of an election, the loss of something. You need for look and study why you lost. The reasons, basically. And we know say one thing way high on the agenda of All People's Congress, and we scatter them so very much apart. I mean, you can put the blame on Marabio as much as you want to put them, and I believe say Marabio get something for do with APC, or APC largely get for do waiting happen to them. So they are responsible partially for waiting happen, and the burden itself, they get for bear on themselves very heavily in terms of waiting happen to them. Yes, indeed. You hear me clearly. So now time for go back now drawing board and go begin study waiting happen. But the party need for reform. The old guards need for go, and this may not sound well. And remember, if Samoa not succeed this time, he is done. 2 reasons. Paramount among them is by law, they don't serve in 2 terms. Where I think say the party can allow, and I stand to be corrected. 2 terms. The same is true of Cherry Coco. 2 term attempt. But probably he can try for the flag bearership because he own a vice presidency. Samora the top, 2 term. Secondly, is an old man. If there's another opportunity, let us say this not succeed, it will have to be 5 years after, at which time it will be 77. And I'm sure say the APC will not remain the same as it is right now. It will be completely different as opposed to how we know them. Famulem. We're at a crossroad. We've been in many crossroads before. Now we country the path to finding a suitable solution which will be of benefit to the country as a whole. Elections now one. Now it make it be critical for let both sides make a commitment to nation, not to the selfish side. Honestly, what we see to the lead up to these elections, which been largely peaceful, but the lead up to Ram, the work was already done, in which you coerce people and blackmail people. And remember, the institutions had been hijacked, so they were used potentially as a weapon against others. So say nothing will get for come out of them, and either you behave or you become a loser. So I don't think say we're going to play this advert. So let's just continue to the show and try for wrap up the show. Okay, let's just continue to the show and try for wrap up the show. I can understand the sentiment expressed by many, especially on the other side. But you see, now that left. And when we look back, many years down the line, all other elections, not only in a salon, the loser will always challenge the results of the election, say it's unacceptable when they accept them. The last one, I not even think say Samora. Of course, Samora never conceded. In fact, he challenged him and he said he will take on a court. And that case, they be supposed for the court stay up to this new one here. So I don't know whether this they can add and tap that one day. But this one's more serious because the last one, it was Samura's team that was in power and then lost. Can you imagine? Then lost to the incoming. This one, now the incumbent, now in win. And with the hearing about vote rigging to an extent that a credible body such as New National Elections Watch get tangible evidence when a court of law where they present them, depending on the fact say pressure is bring pressure for beer on the court, on the presidency, because the court's afraid of the executive presidency. So now pressure is the beer on the presidency so that the court will able for fend independence or the outside influence able for provide security for the judiciary so that they go able for act independently as they supposed for do as one arm of government way independent of the other so that they go do their function without fear or favor, which is look at the evidence where they before them, which is if Marcella Sambas is a credible organization where in the lead, we get our F forms that were issued to them by the Elections Commission, where then your report where they give it differ from waiting and give Marcella, then there is an intent here for deceive. And so therefore, the outcome of the elections will be rendered null and void, which then will provoke or should provoke a rerun. A rerun. From all indication waiting we see, if we can go by that, there should have been a runoff based on the numbers. For avoid that, the ECSL chairman, Mr. Mohamed Kone, read a report where no look match with waiting available to other people. But Fambulem, another thing is, APC not even seem forget their own report. And they talk about independently their own RRF forms them. Where are they? Why are they not coming up with them? And when they do the tallying, when they send them from the center, did APC had an HQ when they get directly from the them polling station and then regional centers and where they come directly at the HQ from the polling agents them? Do they have it? We know say some results were not certified. We see the outburst of the APC representative to the ECSL lawyer Ahmed Sisse. We see those. But family, we are at a critical time. It is really not over until it is over. But waiting mid-10 for think. And I think I don't say I'm over and over, and I will say it again. The conclusion of this program is the election results, just as the American Carter Institution representative say in a BBC interview, it does not reflect the will of the people. And I repeat, the elections result does not reflect the will of the people. This is a sentiment we myself hold very strongly. Why? Because in your weak way, we self-monitor. We use what is available. Not for propaganda, what is available. And long before Marcella, they come out with Leone, from the feedbacks they will be get, both on the inside and the surrounding, the periphery, we were close to waiting with the Yeriso. But the difference here is New has actually got the forms outside the numbers waiting for calculate come off from, will potentially represent the winner of the elections. And they no match up with the ECSL, their reports. As we speak, I am not aware of any country we don't congratulate the incoming president. I mean, the president is being sworn in, is now the president. I'm not aware of. And this is bad. This is really bad. Diplomatically, I mean, you get diplomats in your country and then country will not recognize you. How do you work? In other words, there's no respect. The presidency for be dignified. When you conduct a process which is open, free and fair, to a larger degree, it's never 100%, but to a larger degree, and it reflects democratically the will of the people, then there is respect. But in this case, there isn't. So hence why you have not been called yet by all of these countries, one after the other, for congratulate you. Even at the inauguration, when the say XYZ was not invited, that did not really bother me because it bothered me a little bit. Waiting I do know and Fambulem, the inauguration of the president, regardless of how quick it is, because now so the law say, as soon as they announce you the winner, the need for swear you in straight. If the circumstances, the prevailing circumstances correct, there is no wahala, no day, then you can have pomp and pageantry around your inauguration. So you can come on a parliament, for example. You can come on a stadium, for example. But not necessarily need for do that. But if Kuskas Day or wherever, but they don't declare you the president, elect now you bathroom, elect now you kitchen, elect now under one tunnel. As long as the Chief Justice is there for perform this right, it's legal. You then become automatically the president of the country once the Chief Justice of the land don't sour you. These are facts. So the idea that people are not be there, so that time they not be there because Malabio be not prepare all things. Malabio had 100% of the results. By the time they reached 60%, it's because he had already the 100%. They knew. You could see them, they were dancing already. President was hinting signs. First lady, of course, he no able for resist. He said, they give signs. Yeah. So 40% red. President is now president. So you go see inauguration. You go see invitation from, for the diplomatic community. This now me they wait for see, because if our government not recognize the presidency yet, which means that there are questions around the presidency. It's hard for them we say he is illegitimate because the country carry out a process and it depends on the individual them. Nothing has been proven yet. As of now, it depends on the others, for the others to prove otherwise. But as far as the country, in terms of the constitution, is concerned, and that process day, which is questionable, they've carried out the process. Elections was held. The man we get the constituted authority don't declare the man the winner, and he is the winner until they prove otherwise. The burden of proof is on the other, the one the way they contest the result. And this is the difficult side because they now get for going to court with the evidence. Who owns the court? Marabiu. So therefore, the international community get for come from the outside and can prevail heavily, pressure, and say, listen, we want for this. We want open and free and fair play. But you see, while they can apply them pressure today, Marabiu go still sit down. I keep saying this. He's going nowhere. And he's going to tolerate the process. The guy don't prove for be this skillful. Hence, I've been talk about how we can overlook him because we can look at Alexei Namunku. No, he's not. He's not. He's a cool, calculated, I'm not going to use the B word, but yes, that's what he is. And he's proven it time and time and again. So they're going to sign Fambulen. Will they try to get few guests them this BN10? So that, in fact, it's a panel discussion. And we watch the development as they go on. But bear in mind, say, as we speak, Madam you, Nasidona is it also. Before the elections, we said all kinds of things. That man just they pray for let the 24 each and then hold the election. And then the election is over and done with. I swear whatever they happen, we're going to go to court. No problem, the courts are open to you. All People's Congress people, because I know there's a lot of you watching. Forget the emotional outburst. It's time for reality thoughts. You get for be realistic. When you make, you try for draw parallel, you get for understand what those parallels are. I make an outline the Gambian situation, the right to protect the international community, observe a mission and come inside and for come observe. They not get extra powers other than for come and observe, waiting they go on and report back. Then get their superiors. Then they take action. Now, right now in the right, observe waiting and see. And then they send them back to the HQ, to the superior them, we go turn them into some kind of policy towards that country. They say, well, on the basis of this report, the results are non-credible, and so therefore we not recognize. So we not recognize again. It's a diplomatic language, and subsequently other things them will follow. But all of this implied time, I make us say the actions of the international community is painfully slow. I'm not saying this today. I've been saying this for donkey years, because I understand that I've been under pressure of this kind where we all pray international community, international community. It took them ages. You know, they understand how slow it is until you day in a certain situation where you pray for them and they never turn up, especially on time. So eventually, yes, they've taken a stand, which is a moral stance. Saying, well, we're not recognized, so therefore, we need to congratulate you. But it's interesting for let we follow, for see the development on a daily basis, because I know say every day going forward now, there will be statements coming from the international bodies there, meaning the expectations of them, now you mean they look for. The directives, if there will be, what then go they give government. Say government, well, you need for do this, you need for do that, and at this now they look forward to. Or they set conditions. They set conditions, and certain conditions there that then we expect they have to be met, and then there's a timeline that has to be given. Because remember, say Mother Bio, they play up to time. Yes, when I come, when I talk, I respect that because he want to work with them. He want legitimacy. He want for them legitimizing government. Because you don't want to operate as a pariah. But trust me, Mother Bio will. And I make a site earlier on, during the last 5 years, almost president is go visit them. You think say Mother Bio really get party them on that level? Eh? No, he hasn't. Will they see that? No. So for him, it doesn't really matter. If not in the go, it don't use for go. And the first president under pandemic, now one going to fly, where we concerned about his safety. Still a go. Not really mind. Such is the man. So until we see the directive, the way the international community go to give, we get for keep with fingers and cross. Those of us who want to see an overturning of the election results. Because of course we are slowly walking, if this were to happen, into a kind of a constitutional crisis. But we are far away from there as yet. It depends on if the case were brought to court to be answered, which I believe say yes, it will. It will. Because for Mother Bio for show a degree of legitimacy, they get for allow people for bring that court, they can, in that case, they can court. And of course, that's what the opposition is open to. Then now one of the, except the one go turn to rebel movement, I'm not advocating that. Say, well, we can't take him and match Mother Bio for his words because Mother Bio has shown that he can be ruthless and he's not going to tolerate nonsense. He showed that if you get balls, then you get for act accordingly. When you say something, you get for live up to that. Other than that, I will tell you, say, I get the biggest of it, more than yours. Family, I think say I've said enough. But I want to thank you very much. The one that we make calls for make a contribution to the program. Thank you so much. And there are more programs coming our way as things they slow down. We will get few guests them when they come of high level. We'll continue for support the platform. Today we get about 300 or so people watching. Appreciable number. We thank you very much. But like I said, there is more to come. We get forget a cross section of guests. Not to government, political officer no more. We want other people and from other walks of life. We go to help we for understand the direction where we country they go. And these are my final words. I congratulated the presidency. Of course, it was a matter of choice. As if few people get the picture completely wrong what I use. And because as I begin to understand, there was a caption where accompanied that picture they previously, which they understand. So therefore, they call the picture fake. and as if I've been to promote the picture in terms of waiting that name is supposed for me. No, the picture is not fake. The picture is real. The picture appear like say Samora Kamara, they congratulate the president. Of course, you can read into that if you want to, but the origin of the picture, now where the stakeholders them, with democratic guarantors them, they ask for let them go do a signing for guarantee say that there will be an outcome way desirable of the electorate by the coming elections, that it will be peaceful, transparent, and fair. And I also remember that moment day. I think now somewhere around in May 25, around then time when they go sign. Okay, when they go sign. That's when they took those pictures. And the picture they depict, of course, it was for the public, for sure say the two gentlemen them, they are committed to a peaceful and transparent elections. That's what it is. But yeah, but before they can, stamp me flyer or me picture them, when I try for dig force. I mean, this will help will not just run to conclusion. And if you do that by mistake, I will expect an apology. This is what any civilized, learned person will do when you get something wrong. I will do that. I get things wrong most of the time. And I will apologize to people and say, oh, I'm sorry for waiting I do. I make mistake. Please forgive me. Okay. Having said this, Marabio, if the international community not bring more pressure for Bia Onam and produce evidence we run contrary to the report where Mr. Mohammed Kone read, then of course it's not going anywhere. But even if that were to be brought and the court uphold the evidence they bring, the likely scenario will be a rerun of the election. But you see, a court has to be independent, away from the executive, because the executive just they hover over the courts. Like say we person a man manage you, they behind your neck. They brief fire down your neck. And what now they tell you so? So you cannot act on your own independently. And we know the judiciary had been hijacked. We know that. So if international community not come for bear pressure on Marabio for allow the judiciary for look into a case which will be lodged, if they're not lodged already to the judiciary, then Marabio is going nowhere. Let's get it straight. When Allah gets them straight, they go no side. So when I say and so, it's not that I wish him to sit there, but in the interest of peace, it has to be a legal following. But you see the circumstances, and I think I've said that much. Let me just give one or two more of these comments. See some long ones then, and comments they are necessary. There are so much that we can show tonight. And I want to say thank you to all them one that will make them comments them. Would they ask next time what would they do with program? Because it's interactive. Please say Usa you they watch from. We really like that because we compiling reports and they for put together a data for see where people are watching us from. We can easily do that, based on the collection of data by the platform where we use. But other than that, we will let we use self they do them. The last time for sure say the platform get a huge followership. We get almost 10 of we district them in a watch we on a very heavy program where we've been get. And that was really, really impressive. And away from the district themselves, we get other areas the way them in the watch we from as well. Some headquarter towns, some towns and villages. We know say Magoraka was there. We know say Lonsa was there. We know say Tombo was there. We know say Mambolo was there. And this is unbelievable. And we really like that. Famulem, this effectively, they bring we to the end of this program. And they ask una follow we on Facebook or una like we page on Facebook. We they look for 1,000 more. We they try for reach one particular threshold in terms of followership on Facebook. So please, at the appeal to una, please don't only follow we, but ask a friend for also follow. Not play by that now. And furthermore, we may get like almost 300 people in the watch, and that is not commensurate with the likes. Please, we ask you again, try for like. When you like, that need a help we bring very powerful guests them kind of the program for can talk to owner. because then they watch people that will like the show. You can disagree, use the comment box for disagree with me, but I will do so respectfully. And also the last time, I think that the program last time, with Yeri people and they use some foul languages, please, on this platform, we need to tolerate foul languages, please. So let we keep and clean. And I not forget to go patronize the McKinney Convent Girls. Then they hold their program on the 7th of July. Now the JK Banquet Hall, now Forest Hill, right behind the Forest Hill station. Hopefully tomorrow we'll hold the next program. We go try for showcase the adverts day. This now the TNN TV Media Empire platform, they bring this program to an end. Whenever we get the information with the brand Canto Una, we tell Una thank you. Until we catch up again, please continue for follow we platform them. Now in that to family, keep the peace. Let us be hopeful, think right, do right, search for goodness, search for wisdom. It is always there. Goodbye for now.